Hey, what's up? It's Russ Ruffino with another video for you on this channel. As always, what we're doing is pulling back the curtain and showing you the secrets that we've learned from over 9 figures in high-ticket coaching sales. So if you are a coach, consultant, expert, author, speaker, doctor, therapist, or somebody who makes a living from your wisdom or knowledge, then pay very close attention, because this channel is going to show you how to make the income, the freedom, and the impact that you were born to make. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how we get single clients, one person, to invest $850,000, $500,000, $300,000 to work with us. All right. So let me just get the proof out of the way right here. This is our Stripe account. You can see in Stripe alone. Now we have other payment processors. We take wires, we take payment a bunch of different ways. But you can see even just right here in Stripe, we've done over $100 million. But what I really want to draw your attention to is this list here, which is top customers by spend. So if you click this, we'll go ahead and show you. I'm gonna have to blur a bunch of this stuff out because there's a bunch of private information in here. But you can see one person here paid us over $850,000. Another person here paid us over $500,000, and then a bunch of people have paid us around $300,000 over the course of that relationship. Does that make sense? So when it comes to not just doing 9 figures in high ticket coaching revenue, but earning hundreds of thousands of dollars from one client, there's very few coaches or experts on the planet who have ever done that. And in today's video, I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you how it's done. Now, quick disclaimer, I am not saying you are going to make $100 million, or they're even going to make $10. Your odds statistically of building a 9-figure business are like 1 in a million. But if I were going to learn how to play basketball or box or whatever, I would want to learn from the world champions. I would want to learn from the best of the best. And as I said, there's maybe a handful of us that have ever come close to 9 figures in high ticket coaching revenue. So if you want to learn from the best, you are in the right place. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. Why is it so important to be selling super high ticket stuff to your clients? And why is it so important for you to be able to earn $300,000, $500,000, $1 million from one client? Well, the reason it's so important is because the most important metric in your business is what's called LTV. That's lifetime value. In other words, what are you earning for every client that you acquire? Now, if you are like a hypnotherapist or therapist or life coach, or you're charging patients and clients by the hour, or you're selling blocks of sessions, then your LTV is probably really low. I went and worked with a hypnotherapist one time. The woman changed my life, but she charged me like $100 a session for 8 sessions. And then that was it. So the entire lifetime value of that whole relationship, right, that changed the course of my life, to her was $800. And that's one of the reasons that I started this channel, because I was like, this is insane. If you're making a life-changing impact on somebody that you work with, then it should be a no-brainer for them to invest $5K or $10K or $20K to work with you up front, and then far more than that over the course of the relationship. Does that make sense? So this lifetime value metric, the reason it's so important is because it determines what you can spend to acquire a new client. In other words, if her LTV of our whole relationship is $800, she could maybe spend $100, $150 to get me in the door in order to turn a profit. And that's really hard to do with the price of online advertising these days. But if she were selling a $5,000 coaching program or a $10,000 coaching program that then turned around and upsold into a $30,000 mastermind or $60,000 mastermind, now she could have spent $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to get me in the door and didn't even have to think about it. Does that make sense? So that's the superpower that I want to give you today, is how can you spend $2,000 and then make $500,000 over the course of that relationship with that client. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how that is done. Now, in order to do that, the first big thing you need to understand is, what the heck are these people buying from you in the first place, right? Like, what is it? What are they buying from you? Well, if you really think about it, they're not paying for your time. They're not paying for your expertise. They're not paying for the letters after your name, or like the diplomas on the wall, or where you got certified. What they're paying for is the value of the outcome that you deliver. That's it. When I went to go see that hypnotherapist, it was right after my mother passed away. I was really messed up. I was dealing with grief. I was dealing with regret. I was dealing with like all these things that were, tearing up my life. They were having a big effect on my professional life. They were having an effect on my dating life. And so the outcome that I wanted from her was just to get past that stuff, to get past it, to heal it, to just make it so it just didn't like kill me anymore when I thought about it, right? So for you, you've got to pinpoint exactly what is that outcome that your clients and customers want from you. Are you saving their marriages? Are you helping them get past the pain of divorce? Are you helping them decide whether they want to stay married in the first place? Or is it about fitness and getting into the best shape of their life? Is it about nutrition? Is it about overcoming some physical challenge that they're dealing with? Are you like my client, Dr. Becky, who helps dyslexic kids learn to read? You know, how cool is that? You've got to get a crystal clear sense of what that outcome is. And then you need to ask yourself a very simple question. What's it worth to have that outcome? Right? What is it worth? If you were going to get married, going to get divorced and now you're not. What's it worth if you had a kid who's reading in the bottom 10% of their class and you can get them reading in the top 10% of their class? What's it worth if you're working with a business owner whose business is struggling? Maybe they're on the verge of bankruptcy and you can swoop in and help turn that around. Well, what all those outcomes have in common is that they are absolutely priceless, aren't they? They're totally priceless. And so if you've got an outcome that's priceless and you can communicate that clearly and powerfully, then it's a no-brainer for people to invest 5K or 10K or 15K to work with you. Does that make sense? And I think deep down, you know that. The most common thing I hear from the experts that we work with is, Russ, oh my God, I'm changing these people's lives. I'm helping them get their health back. I'm helping them fix their marriage, whatever it is. And I'm struggling to make ends meet. Or I'm making 10K a month, 20K a month, and I can't seem to scale past that barrier, right? No matter how hard I try. And if you really, really think about it, I think that you know you should be charging a premium price for your work. So if you're not, there's only two reasons why. Number one, either you're scared, or number two, you don't know how. Now, the how piece I'm about to give you on this video. So we'll deal with that in just a second. But I want to talk right now really quickly about the fear, right? That fear is really just the fear of hearing the word no, isn't it? You're afraid that if you go to a client, you got someone on the phone and you say, hey, the investment for this program is 5K or the investment for this program is 10K. Let's get you signed up. You're afraid you're going to hear the word no. And you know what? You're right. You're going to hear the word no. How many times do you think I heard the word no over the course of doing $100 million, right? I mean, it's crazy. Even if you've got an incredible person who's closing deals for you or you're closing deals yourself, the highest consistent close rates I've ever seen are 40, 50%. And that means that you're going to hear the word no about half the time, right? But you're also going to hear the word yes. And I believe that if you've got a skill that can change people's lives, then you have a moral obligation to put yourself out there in a real and powerful way, don't you? Right? You got to be willing to put yourself out there and take the slings and arrows and take the rejection because you know what? For everybody that rejects you, there's someone out there that desperately needs your help. Does that make sense? They don't need me. They don't need, some other coach or some other therapist or whatever it is. They need you. They need you. But if you're not willing to put yourself out there in a real and powerful way, then they can't find you. And that's the real tragedy. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's the money that you're not going to make, but it's that person who is looking for you, for your certainty, for your leadership. And now that person is going to go unserved, right? They're probably not going to get the help that they need. And that's the real tragedy. Does that make sense? So you gotta get your attention off of yourself and put your attention on the people that need your help, on those people that you are supposed to serve and those people that you're meant to serve. You understand? So by taking your focus off yourself and your own fear of rejection and putting your focus on those people that need your help, now a magical thing happens. It's not about you anymore. It's about them. And all you're going to do is open up the door and give them the opportunity to change their life. And some of them are going to say yes, and some of them are going to say no. But you know what? Enough people are going to say yes that you're going to start to hit those goals that you've set for yourself. Because when you're talking about charging a high ticket price, 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K, 50K, 100K, you don't need to hear that many yeses to hit your goals, right? So you can make that income that you were born to make if you are willing to hear the word no, right? So one of the things that you can do, let me just go ahead and map this out for you really quick. One of the most useful exercises that you can do is to look at the number of people that you talk to, the number of conversations with potential clients, right? And then you divide the revenue that you made by that number. So revenue divided by, let's just do this, the number of conversations, right? And that's going to give you what every conversation is worth to you. So in other words, let's say you talk to 10 people and you do $50,000 in sales, right? What that means is that each conversation on average is worth $5,000. And being aware of that gives you tremendous confidence and tremendous power, because now you know that even if you hear the word no, the next person's probably going to tell you yes, or the next person's probably going to tell you yes. And that's why it's so important to charge those high ticket prices, because if every time you hear the word yes, you're making $5,000, that's pretty good. Every time you hear the word yes, you're making $10,000. That's pretty good. And again, you don't need to hear yes that many times to start really putting a dent in those income goals that you've set for yourself. Does that make sense? All right. So now we've talked about why it's so important for you to hard charge high ticket. Now let me talk about why high ticket is awesome. When I was first getting started, guys, I thought to myself, man, you know what? If I enroll a new client and that person's spending $10,000 to work with me, they're going to be super high maintenance, right? They are going to drive me nuts. They're going to have a lot of complaints. They're going to really hold my feet to the fire. They're going to give me a hard time. But you know what? None of that was true. That was true of the low ticket people. So when I first got started, I was selling low ticket. And everything I was doing was $27 ebooks or $47 video courses. Those people drove me up the wall. They sent in a million questions. They didn't do the work. They didn't, ever take action. And they were the hardest people you can imagine to work with. When I switched to high ticket and I started charging $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 to work with me, those people were a dream. They showed up coachable, they did everything I said, and they got the most amazing result. And that's the experience that you're gonna have too when you start to elevate your prices. Now, the other cool thing is that when you're earning, again, $5,000 or $10,000 per client, you don't need that many clients to hit your income goals. So if you're trying to make $100,000 a month and you have a $10,000 program, you need 10 people, right? Now that's what's so cool is now you can make that 100K. When you make that 100K, now you only have 10 clients to take care of, right? Which means you can give them a real VIP experience, which means you can absolutely crush it for them without having to invest a ton of your time. Does that make sense? So the premium pricing creates this situation where everybody wins. If you're charging a low price, people are going to show up with a low level of commitment. But if you're charging a high price, a premium price, they're going to show up ready to rock and roll. They're going to do everything you tell them to do, and they're going to get an amazing outcome from working with you. So don't be guilty about charging high ticket, because if you don't, it's going to be far harder for you to get good results for your clients than if you're charging a premium price. Does that make sense? All right, now let's talk about the mechanics. Let's talk about how this is done. The way that you end up getting 300,000, 500,000, $1 million from one client is to put them through a high ticket ascension model. Now, when I say ascension model, what most people hear is they're like, "Oh, okay, you're gonna sell them something for $7 and then $27 and then $97 and then you're gonna sell them 50 other things. Then eventually you're gonna sell them the high ticket thing," right? That's the conventional wisdom, and that's not the way that we do it. If I had built my business on that, I'd be sitting here talking to you about how we did $5 million in high ticket coaching sales and not 100 million. Okay. So if you want, so the key to doing like the huge numbers is to start with a premium priced program. So let's take a look at what that looks like really quick. Normally, what most of our clients do is they start out with a 5K to 15K 8-week program. Okay. And that's where you start. So this is the front end of your funnel. This is the front end of your process. We're going to talk a lot on this channel about what the funnel looks like to sell these kinds of programs, but that's where you start. What is this 5K to 15K 8-week program? And then after they complete that program, then you can enroll them into like a 20K to 50K 1 year mastermind. Now, that's like an ongoing program, because there's going to be some of those people that come out of that 8-week workshop and they want to keep working with you. They go, oh my God, I got such an amazing result in those 8 weeks, such an incredible experience. I want more. I want to keep working with you. Okay, great. We have this 1 year mastermind. And then if you want to, you can go even higher than that. And you can have like a 60K, let's say to 100K, like top tier mastermind for your very, very best clients. So those people that we've worked with that have paid us $300,000 or $800,000 or whatever over the course of the business relationship, those are the people that were in, they moved through this ascension model. They started out in our 8-week program, then they moved to our mid-tier mastermind, and then they moved to our highest tier mastermind because they were getting such amazing results. So the key to doing this and making this model work is that you've got to get people incredible outcomes at every stage. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be financial. That's another big myth that I want to dispel right now. A lot of people think that if you're going to charge $10,000 for a program, it's because you're helping people in business or in their career and you're charging them $10,000, but you're helping them make $100,000 or you're helping them make $30,000 or whatever it is, where there's some sort of direct return on investment. But you know what? That's not true. The most successful clients we've had over the years were not in the business of helping people make money. And it's so important that you understand that. Our most successful clients are people like our client Ezra. He works with CEOs who have ADHD to help them get their ADHD under control and turn it into a superpower. I mentioned our client, Dr. Becky. She gets dyslexic kids reading from the bottom 10% of their class to the top 10% of their class. Our clients, Megan Alford, are saving people's marriage. Our client, Betsy, is helping women decide if they even want to stay married. Our client Epiphany helps women overcome infidelity and helps married couples overcome infidelity if there's been some sort of infidelity. Our client Mauro helps people get into the best shape of their lives. So again, all of these outcomes are priceless. And so therefore they can command a premium price. It doesn't need to be that they're spending 10K to work with you because you're making them $100,000 in their business. It could be that you're providing some sort of life-changing personal transformation that they couldn't get any other way without your help. Does that make sense? And so the way that most of the time we conceptualize these programs is that your 8-week program is about getting people from bad to good, right? So let's say you've got a marriage program and people are coming in on day one, their marriage is on the rocks. They're fighting all the time. They're like this close to getting divorced. Maybe one of them has already gotten a lawyer. It's bad. And then you work with them for 8 weeks, and that situation has totally started to turn around. They're not fighting anymore. They're not getting divorced. The intimacy's back. It's amazing, right? So now you've gotten them from bad, where things were a disaster, to now things are actually pretty good. But we all know that pretty good when it comes to a marriage or a business or anything else is just the beginning. Your masterminds are about getting people from good to great. Okay. So in our 8-week program at Clients on Demand, we are helping you get clear on your high ticket offers, map out that offer stack, build out the funnel to get clients in the door so that you can start enrolling people consistently at those 5K to 10K prices, right? That's our front end program. That's what that's about. And by the way, if you want to talk to us about working together, there's a link in the description of this video. But that's what we do in that initial 8-week program. Then from there, we upgrade people into our mastermind. So the front end program is about laying that foundation. And then the mastermind is about building and scaling on that foundation. So on that 8-week program, we're getting people's businesses off the ground. In the mid-tier mastermind, the objective there is to get people to, 30, 40, 50K a month. And then in our highest tier mastermind is where we're helping people break through to 100K a month and then multiple 6 figures and even 7 figures a month. So that's the way that we've structured that ascension. Now for you, maybe your front end program again is about saving someone's marriage. All right, we're taking their marriage from terrible to pretty good. It's stable. They're not going to get divorced. Now and then the mastermind is about now how do we take that marriage to like whole new levels of love and excitement and joy, and how do we really give them like the most amazing marriage? Or let's say your front end program and if you're let's say you're in fitness, your front end program is maybe about dropping that 20, 30 pounds that they have to lose and getting them into pretty good shape. And then the mastermind is about getting them into like ridiculous shape where they're doing fitness competitions, they're doing Spartan races, they're doing all these incredible things. Does that make sense? And so you start out with that high ticket price. So now you've got people coming into that front end program at like a $5,000, a $10,000 price. The people that when they graduate, you want to continue working with them. You offer them your mastermind for 20K to 50K. And then again, maybe you have that higher level mastermind for 50K to 100K. So this is what's so important. Now, I want to talk about retention because retention is a critical issue. The average retention in a mastermind, average retention in a mastermind in the online coaching space is about 4 months. That is terrible. I was watching a YouTube video with this guy who's got a pretty good business. He's doing around $450,000 a month enrolling people into his mastermind. He's not a client. He's just a guy I just happened to come across his video on YouTube. And everything was looking pretty good. His profit margins were good. His numbers were good. Everything was good. And then he let it slip. Yeah, people come into my mastermind and they stay an average of 4 months. Wait, what? That's not good. That means that those people in that mastermind are not getting the outcomes that they paid for. And it's really important that you understand that. If your mastermind is just about learning some more stuff, or if it's a big grab bag of information, or it's like a social club where people just hang out, yeah, you're going to see people staying there for about 4 months, give or take. That's the average. But doing it the way that I'm talking about here, let me just go back to this, where it's like your 8-week program is about, let me do this in red so you can see it. Your 8-week program is about getting a certain outcome. And then the mastermind, it's not a social club. It's not a place to hang out. It's about getting an even better outcome. And then your highest level mastermind is about getting the most awesome outcome. That's how you create retention. Do you understand? So many people create a mastermind where it's like, hey, just come hang out with us. That's not what it is. It's your 8-week program is about getting them to a good outcome. And then the mastermind is about getting them to an even better outcome. And the top level mastermind is getting them to the best outcome you possibly can. And as long as your clients understand that their life is getting better at every stage of this, they're going to stick around with you over and over and over again. And that's how you get people to bring in 300K, 500K, 800K for one client. Does that make sense? So it's about the outcome. If there's one thing you take away from this video, make everything in your marketing, everything in your service delivery, everything in your pricing, all about the outcome. It's not about how cool you are. It's not about where you got certified. It's not about the fact that you studied with Tony Robbins or like some guru somewhere. It's about the transformation that you can create for people when they come and work with you. And if they understand that that transformation is worth, 100K or it's priceless, right? Like saving your marriage is priceless. It is priceless, right? So of course you can charge 10K for it. If they invest that 10K and they see an amazing result, guess what? They're going to want to keep going with you. And that's why you need to have that mastermind, that back end program that's 20K to 50K that you offer them that. And then you have your higher tier mastermind that's 50K to 100K. And then you offer them that. So now there's this just clear model of ascension where people are coming in and they're paying a premium price just to work with you, but then they're paying even more premium prices because they're getting 10 times, 50 times, 100 times the value out of that relationship. Does that make sense? So the whole thing is about the outcome. So the moral of the story for you is if people are coming in and they're just buying like a block of 8 sessions from you, or they're buying a $27 ebook, or they're buying access to some kind of membership where there's just like a grab bag of information in there, none of those offers are going to crush. And the reason they're not going to crush is because they're not built around the outcome. Does that make sense? So when people come and work with clients on demand, that's the first question we have to answer. What is that outcome? What is that outcome that you provide for the clients that need your help? And then we can craft all the communication and the webinars and everything else around that so that it absolutely kicks butt. Does that make sense? All right. Now let's talk about how do we actually get people in the door at these 5K to 10K prices in the first place. So I'm going to give you a really simplified version of the model, but I mean, really, this is basically as complicated as it gets. You start out with an ad. Now that ad is what we call a story ad. And that ad should basically be shot on your phone. It should be heartfelt and it should be story based. I'm going to do a whole training just on the ads. So keep your eye on this channel. People click the ad and then they go to a page that has a video that's about 25 to 30 minutes. We call this a masterclass. So they click the ad, then they go to let's say a 20 to 30-minute video, right? They watch the video, and then underneath the video is like a calendar or an application form or whatever where they can book a call to speak to you. Then they go to a confirmation page, and that confirmation page, we'll call it a thank you page, has another video on it, and then it's got more videos that answer their most basic questions and most basic objections, okay? And then they get on a call with you. All right. That's the whole thing from start to finish. It's ad, masterclass, phone call, new client. Let me give it to you again. Ad, masterclass, phone call, new client. Now, there's other fancy stuff we do in there. We are like retargeting them with different ads and different videos so that they get the sense that you're just everywhere, so that they really have time to get to know you, to get to know your point of view, so that every time they're on Instagram doom scrolling or whatever, they're seeing your face over and over again, edifying them, lifting them up, giving them hope, giving them support, giving them courage. But that's the basic gist of it. Is it doesn't need to be any more complicated than just add masterclass, phone call, new client. That's it. That's the whole strategy from start to finish. And the reason that strategy is so simple is because it has to be. When you get into more complicated stuff, it takes time for the audience to go through it. So let's say you've got a different type of program. Let's say where like, you've got that $27 ebook and then they buy that. And then there's like a $47 thing. And if they don't buy that, there's a $17 downsell. And then there's like a $97 upsell. Like what this does is, I'm going to write this in big letters, it wastes time. If your audience has a major problem that they need to solve, they don't have time to deal with all that nonsense. You have to solve that problem for them as quickly as possible. I mean, just think about it, right? We'll use that marriage example again. If someone's marriage is falling apart, they can have days, like days before their husband files for divorce or their wife files for divorce. And so they're still going through your funnel and they get served with papers, right? Just offer them the thing that they really need. Offer them that 5K to 15K program. And then when they're done going through that, then offer them something else. Does that make sense? So it's really important that you understand this now. The lifetime value of this entire thing is the key. Is if you can earn 5K or 10K right out of the gate, you're already probably turning a huge profit on your advertising. And then everything else that you ascend them into is just more and more and more profit. Does that make sense? So now you know how this is done. The only thing holding you back is fear and the details, right? Fear and the details. And at Clients on Demand, we want to help you get past both. These people that have paid us $300,000, $800,000 to work with us, they didn't spend that money and then like not get it back, right? Like they continue to invest with us over and over and over again throughout the years because they were getting many, many more times that in the value that they were receiving from us. So if you want to come and work with us to help you get these programs dialed in, we can show you. This is how you create a program that sells for 5K to 10K. This is how you do your masterclass. This is how you do your ads. This is how you do all these things. And then this is what your mastermind should look like. How do you get people in there? And by the way, guys, I mentioned before, the average retention in mastermind is 4 months. And I mentioned that sucks. The average retention in our mid-tier mastermind is 14 to 15 months. And the average retention in our highest level mastermind is 3.5 years last time I checked. So again, that shows you that we're really getting those results. People aren't just popping in and popping back out. They're coming in and they're staying for years because they're seeing that consistent measured growth, not just in their business, but in the impact that they're making in the world. So if you're interested in that, you want to know how we can help you do this, click the link in the description of this video and check it out. And we're happy to jump on a call with you and have a real conversation about how we can help you. All right, superstars, that's going to do it for this video today. Like and subscribe. We got tons more bangers videos coming out. And if you really want to learn how to do this and how to do this for real, like and subscribe to this channel because we're going to show you the real stuff. I'm Russ Ruffino.